even if you think that Donald Trump was crazy for saying that there could have been election interference, anything like that, look back at 2016. There was claims that Russia interfered in our election. Sure. So I don't understand why there can't be bipartisan efforts to address election integrity, period, and help make the voter, like, what would be our solutions? Because voter ID seems like Democrats can't stand that. Talking about reducing mail-in ballots so people have to go in person and checking to make sure that people are genuine. Like, Democrats can't stand those things. So how do we address, because there is a public distrust of our elections.
But I think that there's a public distrust because we continue to tell people things that aren't true. We tend to tell people that somehow mail-in ballots are potentially fraudulent. Well, everything is potentially fraudulent to begin with. Yes. Okay, so we'll start there. The state of Oregon has been doing mail-in ballots for decades, right? There's virtually, and again, I want to say this very clearly, voter fraud is not really a thing. It's a unicorn, right? And what do I mean by that? If you look at the prosecuted number of Americans who have actually been prosecuted for voter fraud, it is based on the number of total votes cast, it is a speck on a fly's butt, right? So when I say that, the reason that I say that is because people are led to believe that somehow, so let's say Kevin is going to steal my ballot out of my mailbox. Kevin just committed a Class X felony for a single ballot. Even if Kevin runs down my entire street and steals everybody's, now he's got 50 counts of a Class X felony. Mm-hmm. And he's still not going to change the outcome of an election. Is it worth that? Right?
I understand what you're saying.
It's not worth it.
I understand. The thing is, though, is with certain laws, I mean, if we want to, even if it's so, if there's nothing going on with some of these things, we need to still make people feel comfortable in our elections. Things that seem really fishy to me are the fact that there are people where they go and you can ballot dump, meaning like you can go and there are people that go pick up mail-in ballots and can put them into ballot boxes. Things that worry me about that is, so you go to a nursing home because people can't necessarily as easily get to some kind of ballot box. They go, they find the ones that are for the candidate that they want, the dumper, and then they throw out the ones that are for the candidate that they don't want.
But then you would have to open ballots. The second that you open it, again, even opening a ballot is a Class X felony.
Going 25 over is a felony as well.
Right.
People do that all the time.
Is it worth? In my estimation, I think that voter fraud is a problem that just really doesn't exist.
So then, what would be the problem with having a voter ID?
And you said something I think it was really important, right? Because people feel that that elections don't have integrity, right? I think that was right. My problem is that they feel that way, but our feelings are most oftentimes not based on data, right? Data's more important than feelings. And the data is that we have almost zero examples of voter fraud.
Did you see 2,000 Mules? I doubt you did. Did you watch 2,000 Mules?
I absolutely would not. Sorry.
Well, I want to know. Here's the thing: is I've watched the lefty documentaries that they show.
Yeah, I don't watch those either.
Like so. You give extra credit for people going to see those
sometimes.
but no. So I would be curious as to hear a rebuttal of 2,000 Mules from you at some point.
I have to have more coffee for
maybe
that.
A Xanax before that one too.
Yeah, a couple of them. For me, I think that when Trump won in 2016, I didn't like the outcome. But because I didn't like the outcome, I didn't think that now no longer elections had integrity. Even hearing once, now that the Russians may have tampered with I trusted it. Donald Trump won fair and square in 2016. Period. Donald Trump became my president. Now, I'll always respect the office. I don't have to respect him, and I think that every Republican doesn't have to respect Joe Biden. I don't care.
There's a lot of Democrats who don't
There's
respect Joe Biden.
But presidents in this day and age, there's always people just. It's what a horrible position. I have no idea why any person in their rational mind would ever want to be president.
Ego.
Yeah, it could be. But the problem, there is problems that I have. I mean, I've driven around this town and I see people flying flags that say, F Joe Biden. I felt that way about Donald Trump, but I would never fly a flag in front of my house. So I remember when I drove by that the first time, I had to explain to my kids what the heck that meant. That's really embarrassing. We could be better people than that. You could, again,
Let's Go Brandon, more appropriate to you.
As much as I don't like it, at least that's fine. That is way more appropriate, to be honest with you. Yeah, you can dislike him all it is that you want. I certainly disliked Donald Trump, but I never would have put a sticker on my truck that said anything about Donald Trump. I'm not also going to put a Calvin and Hobbes peeing on, on Donald Trump on my truck. I'm just not going to give any politician. And I'm just not that type of person. I can dislike somebody without, and listen, my dislike of Donald Trump was real. Like, I really don't like him.
I was well aware.
Absolutely. But he was the president of the United States. It was one of the things that used to drive me nuts. And I think you may have been in my class when I said this. I got peeved one day because the line after he got elected was, "Not my president." Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yep. You may not like it, but he is your president, right? And legally, we have to recognize that. Now, the good news, and as a person who hates term limits, at least that was a nice spot, right? But because I've always, like you've heard me say, like, elections are term limits, and that's what happened to Trump. Trump saw his way out of office, right? I mean, that was his fault. I don't think that it had anything to do with election fraud.
One thing I want to add.